Welcome back, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Sparkles. Today, we're going to explore the top 4 most valuable Jefferson nickels, the classic 5-cent coins of the United States of America. Some of these coins are worth much more than face value because of rare silver wartime issues, minting errors, unusual color shades, and overall condition. These treasures are not just pieces of history, but also some of the most valuable coins that collectors are chasing today. So, if you're a coin enthusiast or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, this video is for you. Backhand index pointing right. Let's get started with the first rare Jefferson nickel on our list. Rocket. The Jefferson nickel of 1943 with the S mint marked is no ordinary 5-cent coin. It is a relic born out of one of the most turbulent times in American and world history. Struck at the San Francisco Mint in the heart of World War II, this coin carries within its silver core the urgency, innovation, and resilience of a nation that had to redirect its resources toward victory. What makes this piece particularly striking is that it belongs to the short-lived series of so-called war nickels, coins that departed from the standard copper-nickel alloy, and instead carried a mixture of silver, copper, and manganese. This change was no simple adjustment. It was an act of necessity that transformed the Jefferson nickel into one of the most historically important coins of the 20th century. When the United States entered the war, copper and nickel were deemed critical materials for weapons, vehicles, and other military supplies. The mint faced an urgent challenge: how to keep producing everyday coins while conserving metals for the war effort. The solution was bold and unprecedented. From mid-1942 through 1945, the Jefferson nickel was minted with 35% silver. The 1943 S, struck in San Francisco, is one of the finest examples of this adaptation. A 5-cent piece that is as much a symbol of sacrifice as it is a tool of commerce. At first glance, the 1943 S. Jefferson nickel looks like its predecessors, bearing Felix Schlage's portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and the elegant Monticello on the reverse. Yet its silver composition gives a slightly different hue, a quiet glint that sets it apart from ordinary nickels. The placement of the large S mint mark above Monticello's dome further distinguishes it, a visible reminder that this was a special issue. For collectors today, that mint mark is a stamp of rarity and value, a sign that the coin you hold is not merely change but history. During its time in circulation, the 1943 S traveled to the pockets of soldiers' families, factory workers, and citizens at home who were contributing to the war effort in countless ways. Each one of these nickels served as a silent witness to sacrifice, rationing, and a collective determination to secure victory. When you hold one today, you're not just holding silver. You're holding a piece of the war itself, a tangible echo of the 1940s that survived the battles and the years unscathed. What makes the 1943 S. Jefferson nickel so desirable in today's market is not just its silver content, but its combination of scarcity, history, and condition. Millions were minted, but far fewer survived in pristine, uncirculated state. Those that do exist in such condition are nothing short of treasures. A high-grade 1943 S nickel can command thousands of dollars at auction, while rare varieties or proof-like examples are capable of bringing unimaginable sums. In the right circumstances, this humble 5-cent coin can elevate its owner from an ordinary collector to someone who has stumbled upon a piece worth a life-changing fortune. Adding to its allure are the errors and die varieties known to exist within the 1943 S issue. Coins struck with double dies, off-center strikes, or other minting mishaps transform from rare to nearly priceless. Each one of these flawed but fascinating coins carries an individuality that magnifies its value and desirability. It is within these rare errors that the whispers of unimaginable wealth begin to circulate, stories of nickels worth millions and collectors who dream of such a discovery. In the broader narrative of U.S. coinage, the 1943 S. Jefferson nickel represents resilience. It is part of a 4-year window when America's coinage reflected the sacrifices of wartime, and yet it still bore the same artistry and dignity as before. Unlike coins struck purely for commerce, the war nickels are artifacts, pieces that tie together economics, politics, and patriotism in one gleaming circle of silver. Collectors today prize the 1943 S because it is both accessible and elusive for a modest price, One could obtain an example worn by circulation, yet for those who seek to find his specimens, the hunt becomes a journey of patience and passion. And in that hunt lies a thrill. The possibility of unearthing a nickel with the power to shift fortunes overnight, a coin that transforms from common pocket change into a beacon of wealth and history. It is important to remember that silver itself carries a timeless allure. Across centuries, silver has been the metal of kings, merchants, and dreamers. The inclusion of silver in the 1943 Jefferson nickel elevates it beyond the ordinary and places it among the ranks of coins that will never lose their luster. Its intrinsic metal value combines with its historical context to create a synergy of worth that no ordinary nickel could ever hope to achieve. Beyond its material and market value, the 1943 Jefferson nickel also carries a symbolic message. It reminds us that even in times of sacrifice, beauty and legacy endure. It stands as proof that the smallest object can carry the largest stories, and that history sometimes hides in our pockets, waiting to be rediscovered. For collectors and dreamers alike, this is the coin that connects. The Jefferson nickel of 1964 with the D mint mark is one of the most captivating coins in the entire history of American currency, not because it was struck in small numbers, but because of the fascinating context in which it was born and the way it continues to stir excitement in the modern coin market. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary 5-cent piece, but when you dig deeper, you uncover a coin minted at the crossroad of history, a coin that has potential to transform into a life-changing treasure if preserved in the right form. To understand why the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel carries such weight, one must journey back into the story of American coinage during the turbulent mid-20th century. In 1964, the United States faced a growing crisis in coinage. Silver prices were climbing, and the demand for coins in circulation was greater than ever before. The mint ramped up production to extraordinary levels, striking more than 1 billion Jefferson nickels in 1964 alone. Among them was the Denver Mint's massive issue, carrying the small but significant D mint mark. At the time, few would have imagined that these coins, born in such abundance, would one day become the subject of collectors' dreams. Yet hidden within this ocean of coinage are rare varieties, high-grade examples, and silver-toned treasures that have elevated the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel into the realm of legend. Though Jefferson nickels of this year were not struck in silver like the wartime issues of 1942 to 45, the silver-like appearance of many surviving 1964 D examples has made them particularly desirable. Over time, their unique toning and luster, sometimes mistaken for actual silver, has added to their mystique. Collectors seek out examples with brilliant, reflective surfaces, coins that shimmer almost like proofs despite being business strikes. In such condition, their rarity is undeniable and their value can skyrocket into thousands, making them far more than a common 5-cent piece. Adding to the drama are the varieties and errors that emerged during the minting process. The sheer scale of production in 1964 meant that dies wore down quickly, creating opportunities for double dies, repunch mint marks, and other striking anomalies. A 1964 D. Jefferson nickel with such an error can leap from being a pocket change coin to a collector's prize worth unimaginable sums. These varieties are the whispers of fortune in the coin world, the ones that can turn an ordinary find into a headline-worthy discovery overnight. The historical backdrop of this coin makes it even more compelling. 1964 was the last year that U.S. dimes, quarters, and half dollars contained silver, which meant collectors and the general public alike were hoarding coins out of fear they would disappear. Jefferson nickels escaped this fate since they did not officially contain silver, but their massive production and the hoarding mentality of the time ensured that countless rolls of 1964 D nickels were tucked away in drawers, vaults, and safety deposit boxes. Some of these rolls contain coins of extraordinary quality, frozen in time with untouched luster, waiting decades to resurface in the hands of collectors. When these pristine coins do reappear, their impact on the market is staggering. Auction houses have recorded astonishing prices for 1964 D. Jefferson nickels graded at the highest levels, such as MS-66 or MS-67 with full steps on Monticello. These grades, indicating razor-sharp details and immaculate preservation, are nearly impossible to find among a mintage that originally numbered in the hundreds of millions. This is where rarity triumphs over mintage, The few flawless survivors are worth more than entire hordes of ordinary examples. For modern collectors and dreamers, the 1964 D. Jefferson nickel carries with the aura of a hidden fortune. The idea that a coin so common in its day could harbor such incredible potential captures the imagination. Every time someone stumbles across a shiny 1964 D nickel in an old collection or family heirloom, the question arises, could this be one of the rare gems that could change everything overnight? That tantalizing possibility fuels the mystique and keeps the coin in the spotlight even after more than half a century. There is also something profoundly American about this coin. The Jefferson nickel has always stood as a tribute to one of the nation's founding fathers, with a stately Monticello on the reverse, symbolizing strength and endurance. In 1964, during the throes of the Cold War and at the height of cultural transformation, this coin circulated widely among a population that was experiencing profound change. To hold a 1964 D. Jefferson nickel today is to hold a tangible piece of that history, a reminder of a nation that was both preserving tradition and bracing for the future. In the coin collecting community, the 1964 D has become both a challenge and a prize. Collectors hunt for it in the highest grades, seeking that elusive combination of flawless surfaces and full-step Monticello strikes. Dealers treat extraordinary specimens with reverence, knowing that they may only see a handful in their entire careers. And those who stumble upon them in unexpected places, whether in old rolls, inherited collections, or estate sales, often find themselves holding a key to sudden wealth. The 1969 Jefferson nickel, struck without a mint mark, is one of those coins that whispers its story quietly yet carries the weight of generations within its metallic core. On the surface, it looks like an ordinary 5-cent piece, something you might expect to find rattling in a coin jar or tucked into the corner of a desk drawer. But for those who know the secrets of American numismatics, this coin represents far more than small change. It embodies the hidden possibilities of history, rarity, and unmeasurable value, qualities that could transform what appears common into a billionaire's dream. By 1969, America was in the middle of monumental change. The Vietnam War weighed heavily on the nation. Civil rights struggles were reshaping society, and the space race had just reached its triumphant moment with the moon landing. Through it all, the Jefferson nickel continued its quiet circulation, passed from hand to hand, paying for bus rides, candy bars, and morning coffee. And yet, among the millions struck that year in Philadelphia with no mint mark, a handful of coins emerged with a brilliance and quality that set them apart forever. Although Jefferson nickels were never officially minted in silver after World War II, certain examples of the 1969 no-mint mark nickel possess a silvery luster so striking that collectors prize them as if they were made from the precious metal itself. The gleam of these coins, a reflection of both minting quality and decades of preservation, creates an allure that has drawn countless collectors into a fierce pursuit. It is this aura of silver-like brilliance that transforms the ordinary nickel into an extraordinary treasure. What makes the 1969 no-mint mark nickel so valuable is not only its appearance, but also its scarcity in the highest grades. Millions were produced, yes, but very few survived in pristine, untouched condition. The constant wear circulation dulled most of these coins, leaving only a tiny percentage of the sharp details, flawless surfaces, and radiant luster that collectors crave. Those rare survivors are the ones that today ignite bidding wars and fetch prices that defy imagination. Collectors often speak of the full-step variety, where the steps of Monticello on the reverse side are fully visible and sharply defined. This detail may seem small, but it is incredibly rare, especially for the 1969 issue. Achieving such precision required near-perfect striking conditions at the mint, conditions that were seldom met. A 1969 nickel with full steps is not just a coin. It is a marvel of craftsmanship, a piece that embodies the very pinnacle of minting quality. Hidden errors and striking anomalies add even more depth to the story. Some 1969 nickels show double dies, planchet flaws, or other striking irregularities that make them truly unique. To the untrained eye, these may look like imperfections, but to the collector, they are golden tickets, rare markers that elevate a coin's value to staggering heights. Each such discovery sends shockwaves to the numismatic world, reminding everyone that treasures often hide in plain sight. The historical context of 1969 also breathes life into this coin's significance. This was a year of transition, a year that defined a generation. To own a 1969 Jefferson nickel is to hold a fragment of that transformative time, a silent witness to moments that shaped modern America. The coin carries not just monetary worth, but cultural weight, a reminder of the power of small objects to preserve history in tangible form. Auction houses have seen extraordinary prices realized for 1969 Jefferson nickels in top condition. When a coin graded at the highest levels, MS-66 or MS-67 with full steps, comes a market, collectors and investors alike flock to it, driving its price into ranges that few would ever associate with a nickel. These moments prove that fortune can indeed be found in the smallest denominations, turning a humble 5-cent piece into a symbol of wealth. The beauty of the 1969 no-mint mark nickel lies in its paradox, a coin struck in abundance yet rare in perfection. It is this tension between commonness and rarity that fuels its legend. Somewhere among countless nickels still in circulation or tucked away in forgotten collections may lie one of these treasures, waiting to be discovered. That possibility is what keeps the hunt alive and electrifies the numismatic community. Families who stumble upon these coins often underestimate their value, unaware of the fortune that might be resting in their hands. A roll of nickels saved by a parent or grandparent may hold within it the key to unimaginable wealth. The 1969 no-mint mark nickel is proof that fortune hides not in the obvious but in the overlooked. For dreamers, collectors, and historians alike, this coin is a beacon of possibility. Its silver-like gleam, its connection to a defining era, its varieties and errors, and its scarcity and pristine condition all combine to create a numismatic legend. It is more than currency. It is a time capsule, a treasure, and a chance for destiny to change overnight. So if you ever come across a 1969 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, do not dismiss it as pocket change. Hold it up to the light, examine its brilliance, and consider the story it carries. That small coin may just hold the power to rewrite your fortune, proving once again that the most extraordinary treasures often hide in the most ordinary places. Next up, the Jefferson nickel of 1962, especially the one struck without a mint mark, carries an aura of mystery that has captivated collectors for generations. At first glance, this coin may look like any other piece of small change from mid-20th century America. But beneath its modest 5-cent denomination lies a hidden story of history, rarity, and unimaginable value. Some examples of the 1962 Jefferson nickel shimmer with silver-like brilliance that makes them appear unlike ordinary nickels, elevating their status from everyday coinage to treasured artifacts. And for those who stumble across such a specimen, the potential fortune it represents could truly change a life overnight. The early 1960s were a transitional time in U.S. coinage. Silver prices were climbing, and within just a few years the nation would abandon silver in dimes, quarters, and half-dollars. While the Jefferson nickel was officially struck in a copper-nickel alloy, certain surviving 1962 pieces show a luster and brilliance so bright that they have been mistaken for silver. This silver-like appearance, combined with the mystique of a coin struck without a mint mark, has made the 1962 Jefferson nickel a highly desirable treasure in the numismatic world. Coins struck in Philadelphia during 1962 carried no mint mark, and though millions were minted, the hunt for pristine examples has revealed how elusive they can be in the highest grades. Time, circulation, and handling wore away at most, leaving only a small fraction of coins in flawless condition. These rare survivors, especially those with deep silver-like tones, are the ones collectors fight for at auction, and their values can soar to unimaginable heights. Adding intrigue to this story are the varieties and striking anomalies that occurred during the minting process. Errors such as double dyes, weak strikes, and planchet flaws have been documented among 1962 nickels. For the casual eye, these details may be invisible, but for the trained collector, such errors transform a simple coin into a numismatic masterpiece worth a fortune. The possibility of uncovering such an error makes every 1962 nickel without a mint mark a potential gold mine. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1962 Jefferson nickel is its connection to history. America in 1962 was entering a decade of enormous change. From the Cold War tensions to the birth of the space race, it was a time of innovation and uncertainty. This coin circulated in pockets and purses of ordinary Americans living through those defining moments. To hold one today is to hold a fragment of that past, a link to a nation on the verge of transformation. Collectors have long considered the full steps varieties of the 1962 Jefferson nickel to be among the rarest and most desirable. A full steps coin is one where the lines of Monticello on the reverse are sharply struck and fully visible, a feat almost impossible to achieve on a coin produced in massive quantities. Those few that do exist stand as extraordinary survivors, their rarity driving prices into the thousands and beyond. The allure of the 1962 no-mint marked Jefferson nickel lies not just in its condition or rarity, but in its ability to capture the imagination. Every time one of these coins appears in an old collection, an attic box, or a forgotten coin jar, it holds the possibility of being one of those extraordinary specimens worth life-changing sums. It is this thrill of discovery that keeps the 1962 nickel alive in the minds of collectors and dreamers alike. Auction records have shown time and again that the 1962 Jefferson nickel can command staggering sums when the right specimen appears. Coins graded at MS-66 or MS-67 with full steps are so rare that they ignite fierce bidding wars, often selling for prices that far exceed expectations. These are the moments when an ordinary-looking nickel reveals itself as a hidden gem, shocking the market and rewriting the story of value in coinage. What makes the 1962 Jefferson nickel even more captivating is its paradox of abundance and rarity. With millions minted, the coin was once dismissed as common. Yet, over time, the search for high-grade survivors and rare varieties has revealed just how scarce the most extraordinary examples are. It is this paradox that fuels the excitement. Hidden within a sea of common coins are a handful of treasures that could make someone a millionaire overnight. There is also a symbolic weight to the 1962 nickel. It represents a period just before the great changes in American coinage, just before silver vanished from the nation's coins. Its silver-like shine seems to foreshadow the end of an era, making it more than just money. It is a piece of living history. Collectors do not just see a coin. They see a story, one that bridges the past and the future in a way that few objects can. For families who inherit old rolls of coins, the 1962 Jefferson nickel, without a mint mark, is often overlooked. Yet within those rolls collide a kind of pristine, untouched coin that transforms an inheritance into an empire.